Story 1. I love that during the day I receive so much attention at work that I go every day and stay late if needed because it feels like a vacation from the silence and lack of interest I experience at home. I feel more needed and more human there than in his presence. Story 2. My significant other has gained a little weight. It is not a problem. They are not fat, just normal sized now. In my opinion, they look healthier. They had a bad childhood and were chronically underfed. They used to have a concave stomach. Now their body looks normal. Meanwhile, I am actually overweight. Whenever they ask me if they are fat now, it always confuses me. I tried answering honestly once, saying they look like a normal person now, but the results were bad. So now I just say, you look no different. The thing is, they do not believe me either way. I do not know how to convince them that they look healthy and not fat. Story 3. When he leaves the country to visit his mother, the silence at bedtime is amazing. I can sleep and just hear normal sounds, not wheezing, asthma-related sounds, scratching, flatulence, snoring, or loud, long exhalations. It is great. Story 4. I struggle to manage my own life. When she is around, it is much easier to keep things clean and organized and talk about my goals. But as soon as she is gone, I stop having the energy to do anything. My room and car become filthy. I do not really sleep or eat, and my finances are a mess. The person I actually want to be and wish I was is a theater performer. I have only ever been able to sustain healthy habits for a few months, like 3 different times in my life. The rest has been self-inflicted and self-perpetuated misery because I cannot seem to make myself do any of the things I actually want to do. Story 5. I still have nightmares, cry often, and many things trigger me when I remember his infidelity. I don't believe in love anymore, at least not for me. I wish he had ended up with one of his exes he is always looking up to or one of his mistresses. I regret staying, not getting therapy earlier, and foolishly listening to his words instead of his actions for 13 years. Story 6. The thing about secrets is that they have to stay secret. The last place I would confess anything, if there is anything to confess, is on the internet. Story 7. I'm racking my brain thinking of things my husband will never find out or should never find out, and most of it has to do with him actually knowing how hard my life is. He keeps countless secrets from me because that's his job. Backstory: he is active duty military in one of those jobs that Hollywood makes look very impressive, but it is mostly a lot of time away from family and your comfortable bed. His life is constant stress, with coworkers wanting to take things too far and him coming home frustrated because many people join the military for the wrong reasons. We have been married for over 10 years and have 2 autistic children who need around-the-clock care. We have no family within 15 to 20 hours of here. I am very lonely and exhausted all the time. He knows it, I know it, but he is also a little autistic and doesn't really think beyond himself. I love him dearly. I love our children very much and will continue to do everything I can to keep them all going, happy, and taken care of. There is no time for self-therapy, and frankly, it takes too much time and energy to ask people to care, so I often just handle things myself. I sink into reading novels after the children go to sleep, and I have recently focused on losing the last stubborn 10 pounds that have remained since my second child. I have learned the hard way that the only person who will really make your world amazing is you. So yes, no secrets, just living life. Story 8. I think about ending my life every day. The 2 biggest issues I had were that I am the breadwinner and I did not want anyone to have a traumatic discovery. I am pretty sure I have solved both, and that oddly gives me something to look forward to. Story 9. I let our cat kill a little bird that had fallen out of the nest and would definitely die but was not dead yet. I could not bring myself to kill it, so I got the cat to do it. My husband does not need to know what I got the cat to do. Story 10. I went out with 2 girls to dinner, planning to make one of them my girlfriend. However, things unexpectedly worked out with the other one, my current partner. As for the first girl, I honestly have no idea what happened to her. Story 11. I tried to end my life, but I got better. We got better. I am so glad I did not go through with it, now that I see where we are 10 years later. Story 12. Her anxiety is exhausting to navigate to such an extent that it has caused me to give up trying to have a relationship. She finds comfort in my presence, but anything I do or say seems to always be wrong. I have slowly become a silent roommate, and she seems happy. I am not. She is still a good mother to our children, and we make a good team in that department. I plan to separate as soon as they move out. Story 13. My wife and I were in a bar in Las Vegas. They had a band that took requests. I put in a request. A few minutes later, the band began playing the song that my wife and I danced to at our wedding. My wife immediately thought that was the song I requested and wanted to dance to it. We did, and it was wonderful. I never heard my request played, but I never told her that I was not the one who asked them to play our song, and I never will. Story 14. She uses every confidential detail I share as leverage in disagreements. I no longer tell her anything. Story 15. I have a severe sex addiction. I have never committed infidelity and never will. However, most women are turned off by men with sex drives as high as mine. Story 16. I think I have a cuckween fetish. Not cheating on someone, but being cheated on. I hate it really. I despise cheating, yet I get really aroused thinking of a boyfriend or husband passionately being with someone other than his beloved partner. I will never tell people in real life because they might think, cool, I can cheat and she won't get mad. Story 17. I was abused as a child and throughout my teenage years. I struggle with it so much because I know it was not my fault, but it is embarrassing to admit how many times it happened and that it was by a variety of different people, not just one perpetrator. I do not ever want him to see me as damaged goods. Story 18. First and foremost, I dream about him all the time. He is always on my mind. I am head over heels in love with him. We have only been together for 16 years, and I still do not know what he sees in me. I wish he were better with money. Story 19. I love her, but I do not like her. We are separated right now. Openly, I have been fighting for her to take me back. Secretly, however, I hope we do not get back together. Story 20. I am passively suicidal. The last partner I told made things very difficult for us. I am tired of trying to explain why. Handling it when it is bad is much worse when they also need emotional support. Story 21. I just saw a therapist and filled out all the paperwork. I realized that about 3/4 of the information was unknown to everyone, not even my wife, family, or friends. It is very painful. Story 22. I hate the way he makes sounds when he pushes me in a manual wheelchair. It makes me feel like a whale. Story 23. I really don't like his parents, and I hate spending time with them. Overall, they are nice enough, but sometimes I do not buy their curiosity. I am almost certain it is just racist comments with an inflection at the end, so it sounds more like a question and less like a statement. Story 24. On his sister's direct messages, I found several conversations between her and their parents talking negatively about me. All the stories are incorrect, portraying me as a wrong partner for my boyfriend. He thinks I hate his family for no reason, but I have been nothing but welcoming and accommodating. This just broke my heart. Story 25. I was dating my girlfriend and another girl at the same time. Both decided not to be exclusive yet. Once, my now girlfriend messaged me, and I could feel the conversation heading toward wanting to be exclusive. I said, "This sounds like a conversation that should be had in person." And we set a day to meet 2 days later to have the talk. We have now been together almost 7 years. The reason I said that is because, as she messaged me, I was on my way to sleep over at the other girl's place. Story 26. I never told my wife I had a threesome a few years before we met. I am not really hiding it from her. I just do not feel the need to share it, and I do not see her asking. Story 27. Anything about my sex life before meeting her. Not hiding anything, we both agreed that whatever either of us did before we met was in the past and did not need to be brought up. As long as we were open about having no hidden children and were both disease-free, we were good. After 15 years of marriage, I feel I know her pretty well. She would not have agreed with a lot of what I did, so I will never say. Story 28. I lived at a beach resort in my 20s, and my number of partners is much higher than I would ever admit to anyone in real life. I know things like that can make people feel insecure. The last thing I would want is for her to feel she is not enough. But I would choose quality over quantity any day of the week, and she is the woman I want to build a life with. Those memories are locked away forever. Story 29. People can and do change. I might not be the same person in another year. I do not blame her if she falls out of love with me because of it. Story 30. I am prone to freakouts and breakdowns. We have been together for a year, and I have been very good at rerouting just in time whenever I see him. It feels very surreal, though, acting like I have everything together when 3 days ago I was at my wit's end. I do appreciate how it forces me into damage control mode. I do not think it is a completely bad thing. I have impressed myself quite a few times with how quickly I can recalibrate. Story 31. There is nothing I would not do for him. If he asks me for a kidney, I will give it to him without a problem. Story 32. Our dog, who we both adore and is a sweet, gentle mother, mauled a nest of baby rabbits. I told my wife that what she saw in the dog's mouth was a mole. She ran inside, appalled. I gathered the rest of the rabbits and hid them, including euthanizing 2 of the badly injured survivors. She would never look at our dog the same if she knew. Story 33. That I have prostituted myself. My mother knows I am a dominatrix and that I have been an adult actress, but not that I have participated in prostitution. Story 34. The last time I typed out the secret on Reddit under a different account, she found it and made it all about her instead of the insecurities and trauma I had confessed to anonymously, purely so I wouldn't have anyone look at me differently. She abused that, which led to our breakup and the breakup of a friend group. I'm sure I'm the villain somehow in the stories she tells about why we broke up. But I resent her for that. Now I won't tell partners, and I won't even type it out anywhere or tell a therapist. Story 35. I hid that I had genital herpes from my wife the entire time from when we met until our divorce 15 years later. I rarely, about once every year or two, get outbreaks and have prescription medication to make them resolve quickly. I did not think to tell her in the beginning and then felt like she would never believe I did not just cheat on her if I told her once we were a couple of years into the relationship. Overall, it was a difficult situation. Story 36. I had some problems with her, very strong indeed. I went back to drugs, including marijuana, lysergic acid diethylamide, and cocaine. The good thing is that I knew how to control myself and was able to get out of that. We are currently better, but I would not tell her everything. I know what she does or has done. Story 37. Escort. For about 6 months. Got in and got out. I don't think about it anymore, but I feel bad because I am number 2 for my partner. Story 38. This message is for my ex. I am really happy that you are making good money, but little by little your true colors will come out. Unfortunately, you will hurt the people who love you the most. Story 39. I am a happily married man, but a female friend of mine had a baby through sperm donation, and I wish she had asked me to be the donor. It is a ridiculous thing to even be thinking. I do not think I actually want a baby, and my wife would have totally vetoed it, but I would have been willing to help my friend and save her thousands of euros in the process. Story 40. When we met, I was living with my former partner. We had broken up and were just roommates, but I did not want to scare her off. She still does not know we were former partners. She thinks we were just friends. Story 41. I have wanted to try on skirts and dresses since I was 7 years old because I was curious about what it feels like. Story 42. Everything about myself, but mostly, I had a girlfriend back in 2021 or 2022. I vaped for a month to fit in with my class, thinking that might stop the bullies, which it did. Story 43. My partner complains that I take too long to go to the store. She will never know that I often pull over somewhere or sit in the parking lot and cry. 2 reasons. I do not want to burden her, and nobody wants to be around a crying man. Story 44. I think about leaving every day, but it is for selfish reasons and I am scared I will not find someone else. They hurt my feelings a lot, but overall I am good. I have been bullied my whole life, so I am used to it. Story 45. It's not so much a secret, but it's information I'd rather he didn't know. I developed hemolysis, elevated liver enzymes, and low platelet count syndrome a year ago and gave birth to our son 9 weeks early. He passed away 5 weeks later from a heart defect that he was supposed to have surgery for at 37 weeks gestation. When researching preeclampsia, I found out that it is caused by males, not females. Considering my son died and I came very close, I don't have the heart to tell him that I didn't develop it because of me or anything that I did, but because of his genetics, which isn't his fault either. It would crush him, so I've kept it to myself, but it also makes me sad because it wasn't my fault either. Without this knowledge, people always assume that the woman is to blame for what happens during pregnancy. Story 46. How depressed and unhappy I am. I told him once about the depression. It wasn't the best time, but it slipped out, and he reacted with disgust and anger. This, after his infidelity years ago, crushed me completely. I probably should have left, but I'm 30, and it took me long enough to find him. I don't see myself ending up with anybody else because I'm past it and no longer trust people or believe in love. Story 47. I will never tell them how much effort I put into my appearance for them. I am not naturally beautiful immediately after a shower or waking up. I hold it together most days. I fear that if I am truly myself, they will be disgusted. Story 48. I tell him everything because he is my safe person. I have never been made to feel anything other than loved, even with my deepest, darkest issues. Story 49. I would absolutely love to sleep with my partner's sister. I would in a heartbeat if she were not my partner's sister. We are in a polyamorous relationship, so if that were the case, I could hopefully get clearance. I would also never tell the sister, of course. Story 50. I am sorry you're feeling this way. Please consider reaching out to a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional for support. You do not have to face this alone. Story 51. I am addicted to nicotine and cocaine. It may seem odd to mention both in the same sentence, but she does not know about either addiction. Story 52. One time I invited my girlfriend over for dinner. The problem was I forgot I had invited another girl over for dinner the same night. No problem. I convinced my friend who lives upstairs to let me host one of the girls at his place. I cooked 2 dinners and was running myself crazy making excuses to leave and meet up with the other girl throughout the evening. I almost had my cover blown when my 2 female roommates came home. My landlord was confused because he thought I was gay. Story 53. I'm currently struggling with this situation, which happened 2 days ago, and I'm trying to decide whether to tell her. For context, we got married a few months ago but have been together for over a decade. I'm very much in love and want her to have the best life possible. Long story short, I'm pretty sure I was sexually assaulted. I have booked a therapist appointment to try to make sense of what happened and how I'm feeling, and I don't know if I should tell her. I didn't enter the situation seeking sexual gratification and it didn't feel pleasurable in any way, but I just froze. I'm terrified that she may feel I betrayed her, and I feel immense guilt and shame about what happened. I want to be honest with her and not betray her trust, but I also don't want her to think differently about me or believe that I don't love or desire her as much as I do. If I do tell her, is that selfish because I just want to get it off my chest? Anyway, many complex feelings are swirling around, which is why I urgently booked a therapist appointment next week to figure this out and hopefully have a good cry. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express some of this with a throwaway account. Story 54. I was drunk and accidentally had sex with her mother, and she was very adventurous, much more than her daughter. It was a bit unusual, but I have never been so enthusiastic before. Story 55. I hate having sex after having children. It makes me feel sick. My body looked amazing before. I am still skinny and fit, but my stomach is destroyed from stretch marks, and loose skin sags over my underwear. I cannot tell my husband how insecure I am because I am afraid if he thinks I am unattractive already, it will just get even worse if I confirm his thoughts. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.